It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Nation TV. It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Nation TV. And we're coming to you live from CB Gitty. It's the Gitty Gang Show.
Gitty Gang Show.
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 It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Box Nation TV. Welcome to the Gitty Gang Show on another fine Friday afternoon. Coming to you live from the Gitty Gang Juke stage here at CB Gitty World Headquarters in beautiful Rochester, New Hampshire, where hardly anyone ever gets murdered. We've got Nick Lanciano behind the producer's desk today. Sorry, I'm not sure where that came from.
I don't know. 2 years ago, we killed an awful lot of people on stage.
Well, that's true, and no, that's on the other stage. Sorry, I get confused. I'm not sure where I am right now. Anyway, we got a great show for you here today, folks. Is this live? Can we come in again?
Yeah, you want to start over? All right, roll the intro again.
All right, got a great show for you today. We've got a new giveaway. We're going to be giving away some of those DIY amp kits that Shane Spiel wrote about and had featured in Guitar World magazine. I got to tell you, I had to check with the shipping department, Ms. Kim Starling, who's in the wings of the stage laughing at me here today. Like, do we have enough left? Because we've been shipping so many of them out due to Shane's article that I had to actually check. But thankfully we do. And we're going to give 3 of them away. Now, if you remember last week's giveaway, 5 $50 gift certificates to the cbgitty.com website, simply for doing what? What?
Sharing this show publicly, please and thank you.
Sharing it publicly on Facebook. I don't have your comments coming up right now. We'll get that going during the second, third, or fourth half of today's show so we can see what you're saying, see who's tuned in. We love seeing your names come up. Now, just as a reminder, the reason for sharing the show publicly is so that we can see that you've shared it. When you click the share button, there's a little drop down there where you can choose to share to friends or to share public. If you do it publicly, you'll be entered in the drawing this week for one of 3 DIY amp kits. Virtually a blank slate of audio goodness. It's a wonderful thing. So last week's winners, I've got the list here drawn not 1 hour ago. I was a little behind on the drawing this week. We've got, these are all good friends of the show. Every name that came up, I was like, oh, that's nice. So we got Gary Hansen, Mr. Awesome. Gary Hansen winning a $50 gift certificate. None other than good friend of the show, David Comtois.
Hey, David.
David Comtois got a gift certificate coming towards him. We got Chris L. Binge, another longtime viewer, friend of the show.
Very cool.
Marty Tober. Marty Tober. I've been sending a lot of stuff, a lot of PayPal payments to Marty Tober lately because the Wicked Buckers that he produces for us. It seems like we're going through more and more of them, so Marty's now got another $50 to spend on the cbgitty.com site. I know he'll put it to good use. And finally, number 5, Mr. John McKee, who I think has taken the title, taken the crown for the most vociferous, voluminous sharer of this show. When I'm going through the list of shares, I'm like, holy God.
Thank you very
He
much,
shared
John.
this everywhere. Well, thank you, John, and congratulations to all 5 of you. Now, send me a message, a private message on Facebook to claim your prize. See, part of the deal here is you got to watch the show to see if you've won. I don't message you. You message me. All right. So, we'll be doing another giveaway this coming week. Now, we're going to do a song for you here, and if you might notice, my good friend Glenn Watt here is wearing a cowboy hat. today we're going to be doing a couple of country-ish songs, and we're the Gitty Country Folk Trio. When Kim Starling jumps up here on stage to join us. Of course, I got my hat here that almost fits my head. Almost. It's hard to find a hat that fits up here, I'll tell you what. Anyway, so just want to show you a quick recap, I guess would be the word, but Tom Petrie, who a few weeks ago won the 6-string Fun Guy Mojo cigar box guitar that we gave away, he sent us a picture of him happily holding, and here he is, Thomas, I believe his nickname is Duck? Thomas Duck Petrie with his new Chris McKenney Fun Guy Mojo 6-string guitar. And hopefully Tom's out there watching. As soon as I'm able to get the comments pulled up, we'll be able to confirm that. But congratulations again to him. And you know, anytime you want to send in photos of something you've won or something you've made, we love it. Actually, today has a lot of customer submitted, fan submitted content, which is a wonderful thing. So we're going to do a quick country song here for you, and then we'll get into the what? Oh, right into recording.
Do we have a picture of Thomas?
Yeah, it was just up on screen.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
We're all here today, folks. Don't worry. All right.
Don't blink, you'll miss it.
So Glenn Watt is going to pull in the wash tub bass. He's been playing that thing more and more, and really getting pretty good on it there. Wait till you see some of this fancy finger work that's about to happen.
His fingers are about to be on fire. Fire! Fire!
So this is an old Willie and Waylon song telling the trials of a good-hearted woman in love with a good-timing man. I should probably have shut the door so the fan...
Less fan noise?
Less fan noise? Oh well, they're used to it by now. A long time forgotten, and dreams that just fell by the way. And the good life he promised ain't what she's living today. But she'll never complain of the bad times or bad things he's done. She just talks about the good times they've had and all the good times that come. 'Cause she's a good-hearted woman in love with good-timing man. And she loves him in spite of his ways that she don't understand. Her teardrops and laughter, they'll pass through this world hand in hand. She's a good-hearted woman in love with a good-timing man. All right, get ready now. He likes the nightlife, the bright lights, and good timing friends. When the party's all over, she welcomes him back home. Oh Lord, she don't understand him, but she does the best that she can. 'Cause she's a good-hearted woman, loving a good-timing man. Come on. But she's a good-hearted woman in love with a good-timing man. And she loves him in spite of all his wicked ways that she don't understand. Through teardrops and laughter, they'll pass through this world hand in hand. She's a good-hearted woman in love with a good-timing man. Big finish now, big tap. Well, she's a good-hearted woman in love with a good-timing man. All right, there's a little Willie and Waylon, the Gitty Country Folk Trio, coming to you live here on the Gitty Gang Show today. Thank you for tuning in, for joining us. We appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoy these shenanigans.
Absolutely.
It's feeling a little, summertime is in the air, and just feeling a little loosier and goosier today for some reason. Maybe it's just me. It's hard to tell with Glenn Watt most of the time. He keeps a pretty straight countenance. Most of the time. This guy, I don't know what the hell's going on over here. But anyway, so that was Good-Hearted Woman. Now, I've actually been in here in this room a lot this week. If you read the Gitty newsletter yesterday, Thursday, I wrote a little bit about starting to do some recording. And I've been focusing first on songs that I've written, because you'd think those would be a little more forefront in the brain. Turns out remembering your own damn songs is sometimes harder than cover songs. But I'm looking at the songs that I've written about trains and hobos and traveling and such things. We've got one of those coming up later. Now, it's not a new song. It's actually the first real song I wrote several years ago. It was kind of suggested by Shane Spiel, actually. The name of the song is Farmington Road. And at the time, I lived in a town called Farmington. And when Shane found that out, he's like, Farmington, that is like the quintessential American town name. He said that I bet you can go to pretty much any state and find a Farmington, because farms, are a big part of what made this country great to start with. And so Farmington was like the quintessential town name, and Farmington Road has a ring to it, and that kind of became the brand name of the guitars that we build and sell here at CB Gitty. So yeah, Farmington Road and that whole concept, that was the first song that I wrote. So we're going to try it out live here today, and then hopefully record it. Now, when I talk about recording, this is true DIY. I'm mashing all the buttons. I'm going to have people jump in to help record certain parts, but this is definitely going to be DIY music. So yeah, in the studio, such as it is. Built the studio, wrote the songs, pushing the buttons. It's in-house DIY work, but I think that's kind of the way it should be.
I don't know what it is.
Nick's right. I've been thinking a lot lately about the music industry. I have had people come at me telling me how many years of experience they have in the music industry. 40 years of experience in the music industry, and you should listen to what I say. And well, maybe. But how many years of experience did all them guys at Gibson have? And look what happened to them. I feel that part of what we're doing here, not just here, but in general, is a reaction to and a response to the music industry. Over time, in my opinion, the music industry became run by bankers and lawyers and accountants, and they just sucked the soul out of what music is supposed to be in the name of bottom lines and profits and all of that, and bringing it back to the roots and bringing it back to the people, and the idea that you can make your own music. You can build your own damn guitar and then make music on it, write a song. And I want to do some more talking, not in this show, about songwriting. Nick, you said that just in the last couple of weeks, what were you doing? You were picking an old tune, Will the Circle Be Unbroken?
Yeah.
And suddenly
I started throwing in Valhalla and Vikings.
New words started
Valkyries
coming out. And I think that's a great way to get started.
Yeah.
Pick an old tune. It can be one, ideally one you know by heart. Like whether it's Amazing Grace or My Country 'Tis of Thee, whatever. And just start thinking about what matters to you. What words are in your head that could come out along with that song. So yeah, songwriting. And then, I never thought, people have been telling me for a while now, oh, you should record, you should, the world has enough great albums, enough great performers. What do I have to say that anybody should hear or would want to hear? But
one thing that I've been realizing in the last couple of days is a lot of the old songs, you go towards Croce and you have like Marty Robbins and all them. They all tell a story. That's the original goal of music, right? Was one
the
of
ballads,
tell the story.
Storytelling.
And that's a good way to think of it. That when I thought about that, telling a story behind a song, writing seemed a lot less insurmountable when you think of it that way.
Yeah.
And if it's something that you care and know about, that certainly helps.
Absolutely,
You know,
yeah.
and telling your own story is one thing a lot of people do or have done, or a story that you know well. So yeah, hopefully, progress will continue to be made. It's hard. If you've ever made a video, I know Glenn, you've struggled with this. A lot of people out there have struggled with this. Nick, I know hearing yourself in a recording, seeing yourself is hard enough, but then hearing yourself like, is that what I sound like?
That's right.
What am I going to do about this? It can be hard, but you got to get over that and push through it. So, what have we got next?
What do we have next?
I don't know.
All
Boy,
right.
it seems like I was hoping there was going to be a pre-recorded video somewhere. Why don't we, Nick? Why don't we run Shane now? We got another great segment from Shane. What's the deal with Spiel? And moving this up a little bit from where it was because I want to get the comments pulled up here on our iPads. We can see what you guys are saying and doing out there. That's always an important part of this, interacting. So here's Shane showing off electrifying an old Stella guitar, I believe, that he's had for a while. So hope you.
Hey folks, welcome to the new episode of What's the Deal with Spiel. And this is kind of like where I give you a rundown of what I've been working on. There's a lot of things going on, some new instruments and new experiments, this being the latest. Now this is a 1973 Harmony Stella guitar. These are their folk guitars. It is the H929 model. I just did a big Guitar World article on an appreciation for these guitars because of the birch wood and the blues tone they have acoustically. Well, I had an extra one of these. I always buy these anytime I can find them. If they're for $20, $30, I pick them up at flea markets. Well, I had this 73 laying around, and I really didn't use it for much. But then I had one of these. This is, let me give you a camera close-up. This is a CB Gitty pre-wired pickup. In fact, I'll bring the camera out a little bit, and it's got volume and tone on there. Pull that up, volume and tone, and the 6-string pickup. All of this is wired together. And it's got an output jack. I put that in there. I also run a little wire from the output jack to the tailpiece. It's a, let me see if I can get you a better light there. It's a it's a poor man's way of grounding things. So it'll keep it from buzzing too much. But, I wanted to see what would happen. I mean, these pickups, CB Gitty has these cheap. I know these are well under $20, if not a lot less than that. But it's a very simple pickup. Single coil, very similar to a Strat, through volume and tone and to the output jack. It fits perfectly in one of these old Stellas, and I figured it would give me just a straight acoustic, you know, a little electric. No, it doesn't give me that tone. It gives me a nuclear-powered low-end bass. Now, it reminded me of probably about 10, 15 years ago. There was a big movement happening called the Deep Blues movement. It started with the Deep Blues Festival and with the type of music coming out of Fat Possum Records. There was a lot of punk blues guys that were following R.L. Burnside and those cats from down in Mississippi. And this Deep Blues movement had these guys playing basically crap instruments very much like this, an old acoustic guitar with some sort of pickup in the sound hole through a blazing amplifier. And that was kind of the big birth of punk blues. That whole movement has kind of faded some. I hope it comes back. But this guitar reminds me of that whole deep blues movement. And it's got that just nasty punk rock meets country blues sound to it. Let you guys give you a couple tips. If you're going to put one of these CB Gitty pre-wired pickups in an acoustic guitar, this is very, very important. Do not put acoustic guitar strings on it. I have this strung with, of course, Shane Spiel signature guitar strings, but they're electric strings. They are nickel wound strings because a phosphor bronze acoustic guitar string just isn't as magnetic, and the pickup doesn't pull it as much. And what happens is once you get to the high B and E strings, which are still nickel even in a regular pack of acoustic strings, this B especially is extremely loud compared to everything else. So in order to get a good a volume mix from string to string, use a heavy gauge pack of electric guitar strings. The Shane Spiel signature strings has this wound G. I love the wound G. It just gives you more slide. But yeah, definitely use heavy gauge electric guitar strings, nickel strings. Other than that, this took me an hour to install, if that. The reason it took me so long is I just took my time with it. I wanted to make sure whenever I was drilling holes in for the volume and tone that I wasn't hitting any bracing on the inside, because this guitar is ladder braced, and there's also an extra strip of wood across here for extra strength. So I had to make sure I worked around that. I had my hand jammed in there trying to feel around. And then just to get the jack in the right place and to feed the jack through, it took a little bit of time, but it was well worth it. So now I have a new guitar, something different in my stable, that if I want that deep blues sound, that low guttural explosion of blues, this is the greatest guitar I could use to do it. So my name is Shane Spiel. That's What's the Deal with Spiel. Coming up next week, I'm going to be getting into this new prototype I've been working on of a broomstick cigar box guitar. I'm still prototyping it and everything. So to keep on updates on all this stuff, make sure you go to cigarboxnation.com and sign up. If you're not a member there, you're not going to get the emails. So go to cigarboxnation.com and sign up. Make sure you like this Facebook page for Cigar Box Nation as well. And keep in touch. My name is Shane Spiel. Find out more about me at shanespiel.com. So thanks to the Gitty Gang, and that's What's the Deal with Spiel. Bye-bye, y'all.
Alright, welcome back. Hope you enjoy that. It's awesome taking an old guitar like that, a classic guitar, but not like a Martin or a Taylor, a classic low-end guitar. Those guitars were mass-produced, never meant to be high-end, but now, like Shane has said many times, the sounds that you get out of those are like vintage sounds automatically, and then to electrify it like that, it's really great stuff. So thank you, Shane, for sending that and doing that. Got a lot of good comments and likes and hearts out there, because we can now see what y'all are saying. And say hello to Andy Borders and Brad Barbula out there, and good old Chris McKinney out there in Long Beach.
Nice.
Fungi Mojo himself. Good to see you, buddy. Jim Burt, of course. Jim Burt was a winner last week, I believe. Yeah, buddy. All sorts of good stuff going on here. So, just want to talk to you briefly, in case you've forgotten. Coming right up, a week from Sunday, is, of course, Father's Day. If you saw this week's Gitty newsletter, we have created a page on the CB Gitty website featuring some of the stuff that we sell that might make great gifts for your dad. Or if you are a dad, you might slip the hint to the gift buyers in your life that, hey, I believe in the newsletter it was nobody needs bacon socks. Although I understand Glenn Watt
Big fan.
was a little bit on the fence about the bacon socks. But now, only if they're actually made from bacon.
That's right.
Let's be clear.
Genuine bacon socks.
Jim sock bacon.
Whew, that's tangy. But we got a lot of good stuff.
Right there.
We've got a lot of good stuff. Hats, shirts, mugs, kits, tools, you know, all sorts of good stuff. What's that?
Huh?
Huh? So yeah, it is coming up, and if you aren't subscribed to the Gitty newsletter and you enjoy this show, you should be subscribed to the Gitty newsletter. There is a link to click to sign up for it, which we may or may not have showing up in the comments. It wasn't in the script, so surprise. But yeah, being part of the newsletter, both the Gitty newsletter, where it's more focused on what we're doing here at CB Gitty, and then of course the Cigar Box Nation newsletter, which is a little more general on the greater goings on in the larger cigar box guitar world and movement. This past weekend, speaking of goings on, there were several cigar box guitar festivals that we've been seeing the videos and the photos filter onto Facebook from those events. Of course, the Huntsville, this was the 14th annual Cigar Box Guitar Festival down there in Huntsville. It was the first of the repeating festivals. There were a couple of earlier ones, like West Virginia and Kentucky back in the prehistoric days, but then Huntsville got kicked off and has been going strong ever since. It looked like they had a great time down there. Jim Burt was there. He can tell us a little more about it. A lot of the photos that I saw were actually posted by Jim, and some by Bill Yaley as well. He did some live broadcasting from the events. That was great. Of course, the other festival that we were involved in, helped sponsor, was out in the Pacific Northwest in Eugene, Oregon, put on by Downtown Vinny, Mark Alana's third or fourth year. It looked like they had a great event out there. And then there was one in St. Louis, Missouri as well, part of one of a number of things that are happening in cigar box guitar related events happening in Missouri this year. And we've actually, a little later today, I believe we have a video from Matt Ritchie, and I'll be getting that to Nick during one of these breaks. I just remembered that I forgot to, oh boy. Yeah, that'll be good. Good times.
Very nice.
Good stuff.
Yes.
Matt Ritchie, who is helping to organize, Matt Eichbush, I think he's on Facebook now, is helping to organize the Nashville Cigar Box Guitar event coming up at the end of this month during the Summer NAMM show that's going on there. Yeah, he's part of the American Cigar Box Guitar Association, kind of taking the lead with that, and looks like doing some great work, and CB Gitty is going to help sponsor that event too. I always try to sponsor anything I can. You know, there's the reality of it is there's only so much money to go around, but I try to help out in any way, you know, that I can at all of these events that are coming up focused on cigar box guitar. So Rusty says he's going to be there in Nashville.
Nice, Rusty.
It should, I'm hoping for big things. You know, my little rant about the music industry earlier aside, because the NAMM show is of course one of the biggest events for the music industry. But the real goal of all of this, yeah, Matthew Simpson will be there at the Nashville Cigar Box Guitar Showcase on the 29th. And Rob Roble, too. Boy,
Everybody's going.
all the good people are going to be there. Why the hell aren't we going to be there? Ooh, it is hot down there during the NAMM show. I was there one year. It was like a solid 95. But the goal of these events is not necessarily to win over the industry insiders, but to spread the word to the people who love music and could be into this idea of building your own instrument and making your own music. So, good stuff there. Father's Day coming up. We're going to have a short break and then rejoin you from the mill stage with some new products. Wicked good jokes.
All right.
Very funny.
Yes,
I don't know when the hell.
You know,
the Gitty Gang show almost went on to national TV once.
We don't have any other.
But we didn't because of sinus
We
trouble.
have Matthew Capato video. Sinus trouble.
Yes.
Do that.
Huh?
You wanna run that?
No one with sinus. Audio still on. Good thing I wasn't doing any cussing that time. Woo, buddy. All right. So, a couple of new things coming down the pike this week from CB Gitty. The first of which we're very excited about. The idea behind this is an alternative way to install frets in your necks and fretboards without having to bang on them with a hammer. Now, if you do fretting, like we do here, you probably are using a hammer to set the frets into the slots you've cut in your fretboard, which of course works, but you know there are some pitfalls to it. If you hammer too hard in the middle of the fret, you can bend it and those ends can come up. You can otherwise distort it. So our guy Jeff Rich, who works here in the Gitty shop, he's like an onion. There's always a new story coming out. Like, you did what? But he spent some time at the Fender Guitar Factory down in Mexico. Still not exactly sure what he was doing there, but he worked there for a while, and he saw the machines that they use to install frets in their automated neck fretting process, and apparently it was a curved piece that just kind of rolled the fret in. So Jeff said, why can't we make that out of wood using the same oak stock that we use for our bevel files and everything else? So he made a prototype, and the idea is this is a piece of specially hardened oak. He uses his special process that he also uses for his drumsticks to toughen this oak to make it even stronger, and we sand a curve into it, or a radius into it, and the idea here is that, not sure how well this will be visible.
I can help
Can
out
you
with
bring
the, camera
the
a little
cam down a little bit there, Nick? Yeah, that'll help. So it's carefully
There it is.
pre-planned. Yeah. Okay. So I know it's a little far from the camera, but the idea is you've got your fretboard slotted, pre-slotted. Oh, he's coming out of the booth!
There you go.
Oh boy, I'm close up here. All right, well that's the next thing.
Oh,
Let's come
down.
over here. All right, so you've got your fretboard pre-slotted. The idea with this is you take your piece of fret wire. It can be a long stick or a shorter piece, and you kind of get it started in the slot, and it'll stay there once you get it started. I got to come over to this side because I'm right-handed. And then you use the curved surface to just kind of roll it in. And you can really kind of feel it seat into place when that tang kind of snaps into the slot. Now, I didn't bring a pair of nippers, but the reason... So, all right, go ahead and zoom back out there, Nick. So Jeff came up with that, and we figured out it needed some weight here in the front part to make it a little more ergonomic for the rolling motion. So he had seated some steel rod in there to weight it down. I was like, well, if we got to put something in there, why not use a piece of brass rod and have it extend out so that if you need a little extra persuasion, you know, if you got a piece of stubborn fret wire, it doesn't want to roll down in, or if you're using a very hard wood, like purple heart or something, you know, it takes a little more pressure. Having that little bit of hammer nub sticking out of there just makes it a little more versatile of a tool. So Jeff has been perfecting this, the hardening of the wood. Now, it is oak, and over time, you know, after your 20th or 30th fretboard, it does start to get some grooves here on the rolling surface, which is actually okay because it kind of helps it seat into place over the fret wire, but you can always lightly sand it to take those back out. So a very innovative tool, a different approach for, it's cutting the top of your head off now. Need some slouching out of you, Glenn Watton. There he is.
Hey!
A different approach to fretting. It doesn't completely replace the hammer, but it's a little more finesse, a little bit more of a finesse way to ease frets into a slot. So I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm proud to have this kind of innovation happen here in the Gitty shop.
Yeah, buddy.
It's good stuff.
Yep.
All right, so that's item one. Get that out the way. And now the second thing is something I've been working on a while. This is the sister jig, or sibling jig, to the scarf joint miter box that we've been selling now for several weeks. And we're going to have a video shortly from Michael Capato, who actually is the guy who got me started on the idea of making that miter box. Well, this is a gluing jig to make it easier for you to glue up the scarf joint after it's cut. So here's a neck that has had the scarf joint cut, lightly sanded to clean it up. And then of course you got to glue that back on there at an angle to make your angled headstock. Well, getting this, traditionally doing this without any sort of jig is hard because once you have glue on this surface and you start applying pressure, it wants to walk. That glue kind of acts as a lubricant at first, and it makes that angled bevel want to kind of slide off, skewer there and get off center. Well, this jig has the angle built into it, and basically what you do is you bring your neck around like so, you get your top piece on, and I realize, you can kind of see, and you apply a couple of squeeze clamps. Get one going there, make sure she stays matched up, get a second one here. And one of the innovative things, hopefully, I think it's innovative, about this, even compared to the jigs we've been using in the Gitty shop for years, is that every gluing joint, every place where glue can squeeze out, is visible. So you can wipe off any excess that squeezes out, and you can see how good of a joint you've got there, that it's nice and tight. You know, if it's a little bit off skew, you can kind of loosen and retighten, lightly tap it with a, like with the plastic side of our fretting hammer, something like that, and get a really nice clean scarf joint glued up. So designed this to go along with the scarf joint miter jig that we have. Should be available. I'm doing the final testing on it. They keep telling me don't show off things that aren't available for sale yet, but I can't help myself. So that's coming down the pike soon. Hopefully early this coming week it'll be available. And that is just a couple of the exciting new things, either available or soon to be, from CB Gitty.
Nicely done. Oh, jeez.
All right, back to the stage. So, Glenn, do you want to run with, well, we've got Michael Capato, and you want to do Walk Corner before this? Because I got to go get that video from Matt Ritchie downloaded so Nick can get it in the queue, all right?
All right, I got to do it from my, yes. So,
All right, I'll be
forgive,
back.
forgive me, I got to do this from my mobile device because my script is all messed up in the paper. So thank you. I didn't print all of it. Only printed the first sheet.
Do it 3 times?
2 of the pages were blank.
Oh.
Hey, but, so, welcome to Walk Corner. Hey, now, you know what this is? This is every week when you submit stuff to us, we go through how awesome it all is, then we turn around and share it with the rest of you. That's what this is. And that's what we're doing right now. So, what Nick has for you first is the first image up is from our good man, Andy B. Now, Andy B wrote in with these images. We got, yes, the Kanjo. My 13-year-old son was so taken with my CB Gitty Kanjo build, we scratch built him one using a back scratcher, a few odds and ends, a CB Gitty Kanjo can, and a tuning peg from a Martin guitar, love it, for good measure. Now in the second image you'll see, as Andy writes, I think he likes it because he's been strumming it on it all weekend. I recently picked up the CB Gitty Kanjo songbook, written by Ben Baker, published by Ben Baker, awesome stuff. And he's been tearing through it, learning songs at a rapid pace. Next, I'm going to walk him through building his first diddly bow, which is sweet. Father-son time, family time, building instruments, awesome. Now, in the next image that Nick has for you, these homemade string instruments really brought us close together, and we're on the hunt for these items to be, and now we're on the hunt for items to piece out for the next project with. It's so surprising that things you can build using common around the house parts. Thanks, and God bless all the work that you do. God bless you, sir, because this is awesome. Family time, bringing people close together, sharing in the joy of building and playing music. Now, next we have the next image from Andy B. And if at your leisure, Nick, if you want to just kind of cycle through them, that's great, because there's the next three images. You'll see that Andy wrote in, I am currently putting together some canjos for Father's Day gifts for my wife's and his own father. Now, that's what you see here, this awesome looking canjo. And the next image, is it the next one? Oh, stay on this one if you don't mind, Nick. I love this about what you're doing, Andy. This is a fine representation of the fact that you don't need a ton of stuff to be building musical instruments on your own. He's outside on a picnic table with a sparse bag of sparse tools, just easy stuff. You don't need a full workshop. You don't need some huge woodshed to make handmade musical instruments, especially with your child. And I love this. So the nice little representation of simple things, making simple things that do simply great things for your family. And in the last image,
shout out to Andy, he's in the comments right now.
Hey, Andy. Now this last image, you can see, I love this. Now, I bring this image, I want to highlight this image because this doesn't look like much to you until you think about it. And now Andy didn't explain this to me, but it looks like an eye bolt sitting on the tail piece of his canjo where his canjo sits. But what I love about this even more is that there's like an indentation under the can. It's not resting right on the neck to the bottom and the top are, but the rest of the middle of the can isn't resting on the neck, allowing the entire can to serve as a functioning sound tube. And I think that is awesome. And I just thank you very much, Andy, for sharing what you and your son are doing together and spreading the joy of music and creation and DIY and all that good stuff with your own family. I think that's awesome. And coming up on Father's Day, it's a great message to have. So thank you, Andy. And now next, what Nick has lined up for you is an image from Brooks H. Just one, and this is, Brooks wrote in, this is a fretless mini cigar box guitar that my son and I made over a couple of days. It has a scale length of 17 inches and a total length of 26 inches, making it the perfect size for him. Now, you may be out there looking like, hey, well, it's just a cigar box guitar. Again, this is family getting together. This isn't like, hey, look at me and how amazing my guitars are, which is great too, but this is just two guys, a father and a son. I don't care if it's a mother and daughter, a grandmother and an aunt, just family getting together to work with one another to create something special, not just the object, but the relationship and the experience that these people have with one another. And I think that's really awesome. So thank you very much, Brooks, if you're out there, for sharing that with us. Up next, Nick has from Vernon H. A 3-string slide guitar with a 25-inch scale length, poplar and red oak necks, position markers burned in. Most importantly is that he built this box himself, did Vernon, out of a CB Gitty box kit. And I've been noticing more and more people submitting images, photos, stories, videos of box kits that they've gotten from Ben, us, and building their own guitars. Brilliant. Love it. I think this is awesome. And also, by the way, Vernon, I love the color.
Yeah,
he
I was
said
just about to say, I love that color.
Yeah, he said it took like almost 30 coats of paint to get like that deep of a purple. Awesome. I know. Guy's dedicated.
That's dedication.
Dedication.
Right there, yeah.
Let's see, I just want to keep going. Take 30 coats of paint, blah, blah, blah. Now, in the next image, Vernon wrote, you'll see here, mahogany, handmade mahogany bridge. Underneath it, he has a 20mm piezo disc. Says it sounds great acoustically and amplified. I know that I can vouch for this because I've built with using these box kits before. They're awesome. Love the F-holes, by the way, and the treatment underneath the F-holes.
Did you say if that's just screen door?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, love it. That's just brilliant stuff, man. And in the last image, you'll see this. You're like, why is he showing me the headstock? Because the string trees. The string trees are purple, and it's a little, yeah, man. Come on, that's just a touch that you want. He used CB Gitty tuners. He got the threaded rods that we sell. That's a neck that we sell. He stained it himself and put on purple string trees to match the guitar body. I love it. Thank you very much, Vernon H. Next up, Marty, you've been getting a lot of love from us recently, and that's because you deserve it, sir. And this is an amplifier that Martin Tauber, the guy that makes Wicked Buckers, who lives up in Maine, Maniac CBGs. Did I get that right? Maniac CBGs. Yeah. Maniac, yes. Martin, our 2.5 wire amplifier kit made this little ditty. Now, staying on this image, you'll see Martin writes in, finish this small portable amp for the Travis Mills Drive. Again, the Travis Mills Foundation up in Maine that helps rehabilitate, and work with families with military veterans from the United States and helps them to peacefully get together and get on and live their healthy lives. Martin is going up to the Travis Mills Foundation, donating goods to be auctioned off to help support that foundation, to help support veterans and their families. I just thank you, Martin. This is awesome stuff. So that's what Martin did with this. In the next image, you'll see that Marty points out this: the unusual shape makes them sell at festivals. Absolutely, and that's the thing. Martin's been doing a lot of work at festivals over the course of over the years now, that since I've met him, and he's got a great point. You make something that's unique, it looks different, it sticks out, and you're playing music through it, especially with a wicked bucker, and the thing sounds, and it sells itself. So good job, Marty. This is awesome stuff. And last, this image. Now you may not be able to see it that well, and that's okay, because I think it's the story behind it that really gets to me, really gets me good. And that is from Larry F. Larry's from down in Massachusetts. I'm not giving away too much, but Larry, thank you very much for submitting this. I am fortunate to work every day with the great folk at a dehabilitation clinic. The people who attend the program have intellectual and/or developmental disabilities. It did not, however, prevent them from crafting some awesome gitties. This is stuff that he's using, he's getting from us, he's turning around, he's building it with people at a dehabilitation center who have some issues that need to be worked through in a healthy way, and this guy, Larry F., is doing it with musical instruments. So Larry writes in, I simply guided them and, some of them, or for some of them, this is the first time they've used hand tools. I simply guided them and offered my knowledge of building, and these guys built these guitars independently. Being passionate about building and playing, it was awesome to watch them share the experience. I came to the realization that the experience is exactly the same for them as it is for me. A very wise man once said, find something find something that you love to do, and you will never work a day in your life. I realize every day how fortunate I am to be here and how lucky I am to spark a passion in these guys that already burns inside me. Larry, thank you very much for working with people that can use some help, using music, using DIY, using the ability to independently think and group work to just make people's lives better, and I think that's really cool, so thank you. And that is it for Watt Corner.
Watt Corner!
Watt Corner! Hey, that's it for my mobile device too, sorry.
Ha! All right, well, unfortunately I wasn't able to get that video from Matthew. We will be running that next week, still in plenty of time, to help promote that event happening down there in Nashville. As we saw in here, a lot of our friends are going to be there, so that's a great thing. So right now we've got a video from one of our friends, Michael Capato, showing a trick that he uses involving masking tape and super glue. And I just wanted to say, I didn't know this, and it's a good example of how many great tricks and jigs and ideas there are from the larger woodworking world. Pretty much any problem that you might run into in your shop has probably been encountered before and figured out some clever way around it in the world of woodworking. So this is an example of that, and when we come back from this short video from Michael, we're going to be doing another song. So see you again.
Hey fellow CBG geeks, it's Michael Capato. I have today two almost identical necks that are for Camacho boxes, and these were the first two I cut with the brand new CB Gitty highly recommended scarf joint jig. So I thought I'd do something interesting to see if I could get both of them even rounder on the back with just simple hand tools. I was trying to figure out how to attach these two to do this, and I remembered a trick that I actually learned from the YouTube videos of Crimson Guitar, and it's a masking tape / super glue trick. And if you haven't seen this, this is amazing. If you're working on a fretboard or anything that you need to hold down on a flat surface, you can use this technique, and it's easily removable. Basically what you're doing, and I already started it, is you're laying a sheet or piece of masking tape, regular old masking tape, down on each surface, and then you're super gluing the layers of masking tape to each other. So you're not actually gluing the wood to wood. There's a barrier, and that barrier you can snap. You can usually just kind of break in or manage to tear the paper apart, and it separates clean. I've done it when I've wanted to flat sand, where I've just laid something down. I've done it a couple times for really small covers for pickups, where I wanted to just kind of sand everything smooth or thin it out, and I've done it. So it's really a cool trick. So I thought I'd put a little video together and show it. So, you know, you just basically, and this size masking tape is nearly perfect for doing this, because it's almost exactly the width. You can hear kids walking around outside. So I'm tearing over the length I need, and I'm kind of just folding that over. So hopefully, I don't know if you can see it, that I'll have like a little pull handle. And you just kind of give it a little smooth down. Doing the same on that side. I mean, I'm just taking, I don't know, I'll take a block of wood real quick and kind of burnish over the tape. Because you do want the tape to stick to the wood. And then all I'm going to do is kind of line them up. There's a couple of lines anyway. And I'm not going to use too much super glue. Just a drop or two. So I'm just going to apply just the drops. I'm not going to run a bead or anything. I just want enough to hold the two pieces together while I work. So I'm going to take one and the other, and I'm just going to try to match them and give the glue a chance to set for, you know, a couple of minutes, minute or so. I'm just going to hold them together right now with a couple of clamps. You know, it just takes a couple seconds to get it to hold together. So yeah, see, it's just temporarily super glued together. So I'll come back later and show you the finished curve part, and then kind of take them apart, show you how easy it is. Well, I'm back, and I'm actually really impressed with what I ended up doing. I kind of wish I had stopped and recorded it, but this wasn't really about the sanding technique as much as the attaching, you know, the two pieces. But if you look, I really did a fairly decent job. This is still like just the rough sand of having a pretty nicely rounded on both necks. And what I'm probably going to do is when I go down, when I finish carving everything and do the finishing sanding, I may reattach them and continue this. But it's surprising. I mean, I've done one and rounded, and they just seem to have a more gradual flow. And all I did was I just sat on the chair and rested this on my knee, and with my random orbital sander, I pretty much just went down and I kind of did a couple passes, rotated. You know, you get the idea. I just kept moving both the piece and the sander, and came out really nice. I'm just using this basic kind of a scraper thing with an edge. I also have a mallet. I doubt if I'll need it, because part of the whole trick is that the super glue shears really easy and breaks apart. And yeah, you could do this with double-sided tape. The reason the guys in England do it is, I guess, double-sided tape's hard to find and really expensive. Plus, you know, you have multiple widths of masking tape. And as you saw, this is exactly one strip on a standard 1x2. So, I mean, it really comes in handy for what we're doing. So as you can see, I'm just basically moving down and pulling it apart, and it's come off, you know, it's come off easy peasy, and you just pull your tape off. The tape came off clean on both, and we're left with two pretty evenly rounded, this part of the neck. I still have to carve everything, but I just wanted to share this little trick from the Brits. More later.
That's not even what I meant.
That'd be fun. All right, welcome back to the Gitty Country Trio. ahead, I'm trying to thumb a ride. When I get to the end, around the bend, I might see her on the other side. Farmington Road, long and cold. It's been a weary night, praying for headlights on that old Farmington Road. Farmington Road, make my blood run cold. It's been a weary night, praying for headlights on that old Farmington Road. Moon is fading now, the clouds are rolling in. I got a few more miles, they'll pass on by like a freight train without end. The wind is rising now, I feel a drop of rain. If I get to the end of this old road, I won't be this way again. Farmington Road, long and cold. It's been a weary night, praying for headlights on that old Farmington Road. Farmington Road, make my blood run cold. It's been a weary night, praying for headlights on that old Farmington Road. But when I see that ride, I'm gonna step inside, let it take me where it goes. If I ever come back down this old track, nobody's gonna know. Oh, Farmington Road. Now some like talking, others keep it quiet. I try to stay out of most folks' way, not looking to start a fight. But if you ask me, well, you know I'll tell you the truth. With every step I take down this old road, God knows I'm paying dues. Farmington Road, long and cold. It's been a weary night, praying for headlights on that old Farmington Road. Farmington Road, make my blood run cold. It's been a weary night, praying for headlights on that old Farmington Road. It's been a weary night, praying for headlights on that old Farmington Road.
Songwriter Ben Baker.
Woo! All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in and watching today. How much more we got? I don't think there's much more. So next week we'll be showing that video from Matthew Eichbush, and the American Cigar Box Guitar Association about the upcoming Cigar Box Guitar event down there in Nashville, Tennessee. It's going to be a great time. I have a couple of new songs for you, an update on the recording process. We'll have Kim Starling jetting off the stage there, getting her, yeah, we're trying to work a washboard into the dealings here.
I don't know.
If you'll notice back there hanging on the wall is one of Ron Benway's worn out washboards that he left here on his previous and one and only visit.
It's a killer.
Oh yeah. Well, he wore right through the washboard part. We'll have the giveaway. You know, next week is just 2 days before Father's Day, and we might do a little, might have a little bit of a tribute for some of the dads out there.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. No, I think this weekend
Get
is
Dougie in here. Oh boy, that help us. What do you think there?
I think this weekend is the 28th monthly meeting of the Michiganders Cigar Box Guitar Club from Cigar Box Nation over in.
Is that the one Gary Hansen puts together?
I don't think he may be involved in it, but I don't think he puts it together. I think it's another gentleman whose last name I can't remember who does buy from us. I'm sorry.
Hey, it happens. I can barely remember my own name most days. Who are you people? show on Cigar Station TV. And we came to you live from CB Gitty. What's happening? It's the Gitty Gang Show.
Gitty Gang Show.
It's the Gitty Gang Show.
Gitty Gang Show.
In the Gitty Gang Show.
Gitty Gang Show.
In the Gitty Gang Show.
Gitty Gang Show.
In the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Station TV. Give him one more now. Come on now. I guess we're done. I don't really want it. It feels like there should be another verse.
Give it up. Make it up.
Maybe we should,
Give me a minute. Well, yeah. I'm trying to make up something about Father's Day on the fly.
Oh.
All right, here we go.
Uh-oh.
Well, don't forget your dad's on Father's Day. Say, don't forget your old daddy's on Father's Day. Because they're probably the reason you turned out this way. in a good way. I think we better end it there, folks. All right, until next week, thank you for taking time out of your day to watch us. Take time out of ours to have fun. All right, anyway, see you next week.
Bye, guys.